The sheer amount of lies we are being told in the mainstream media is getting worse every day. Why can't the truth ever be reported for once? It's okay if the economy isn't doing well. Let's admit it and let's deal with it. Why hide it only to make things worse in the future? This doesn't serve the people. Blinding them from the truth is a disservice to them. And that's why you came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to look at the auto industry. I want to look at retail. We're going to look at commercial real estate. I have a lot to cover, so let's begin by taking a look at this. The first three articles, I think it's pulling the information all from the same source, so I'm going to move through them very quickly. Orders for heavy truck orders have declined steeply this year. That comes as fleets take deliveries of last year's purchases and so on. Apparently, April orders were very low, 57% below April 2018, when a supposed strong U.S. economy bolstered by business tax cuts juiced the orders. Trucking companies have ordered 63,000 trucks year to date. That's a 63% decline from the same period back in 2018. So obviously we've got a big issue going on here. Unless they're not telling us the whole picture, this seems to be the case. There is a big decline from 2018, and obviously 2018 towards the end was looking bad, but if they were going based on what was going on in 2017, thinking this was just a little hiccup, well then obviously 2017 looked very good, so that probably changed their minds as they came to the end of the year. Heavy truck orders plummeted 64% during the first quarter after record sales here. This shows you that times can change. NA Class 8 orders dipped from March to April, hitting a 31-month low. This just shows you part of that same data, giving you an idea of what's happening in this particular industry. Yes, you may find that certain people, they're working hard, they're working every day, they're getting overtime, there's a lot of work for them. It depends on the industry, it depends on the person, but you have to look at this type of data, to be able to start to piece this all together. If you're looking at stocks to be able to determine what's happening in the actual economy, you're never going to figure it out, and you're going to make yourself look like a stupid fool. This happens all the time. If you look at GDP numbers, you are not going to figure out the truth. You are misguided. You have to look into the other details that people in general, I would say 95% of people, even within the actual financial industry, they don't know about this stuff. They don't do that. They look at 200-day moving averages. They look at PE ratios, which most people are ignoring right now for obvious reasons, and you look at what Warren Buffett is buying, and that's it. That's pretty much the extent of their knowledge. New car registrations in Germany fell back in April. This is just one more. It's only 1.1% less than the year before, but I just want to show you that the car industry globally seems to be suffering. In fact, Audi sales were down 12.8% year on year. So it depends on which company you're looking at. It really depends on many factors, but I just wanted to give you this as part of this video today because it is correlated. Now we get to some interesting news. Automakers and their dealers have millions of reasons to be concerned about a weakening U.S. new vehicle sales problem that they got going on today. Nearly 4.2 million reasons to be more precise. That's how many unsold cars and trucks the industry had on hand going into this month. An unwieldy pool of vehicles that has spilled into vast overflow lots popping up wherever enough wide open space is available, shuttered factories, vacant shop centers, barren fields. This is what's happening with the car industry. They tell us that things are being sold right now. They tell us that all of the orders are being placed, but everything is sitting in some sort of either factory, warehouse, or a parking lot in this case. This is not what you call a strong economy. Nobody's buying the cars. They are sitting there. How in the world are they going to sell these 4 million cars and trucks? It's not going to happen. They might sell some of them, but by the time they need to sell, already you got the new models coming through. They've got themselves a big issue. Now, this is not the only time we've seen this before. This occurs. There's always going to be some inventory, but this seems to be at the same time. If you add in all of the other data, it starts to look like we've got ourselves with a very weak economy. I mean, that's the way we have to point to it. We can't deny it anymore. American retailers already announced 6,000 store closures this year. That's more than all of last year. I've been covering this issue for the last while, just giving you an update on everything that's been happening with this. There have been numerous different chains that have been closing down some of their stores or completely going bankrupt and shutting the whole thing down. Take a look at this. Office Depot was closing 50 stores. See if your store's on the list. You can go down, check that out if you're interested. But basically just wanted to show you yet another chain is suffering as a result of many factors. Yes, we have the rise of e-commerce. I didn't include it in here, but it's only 11% of the total. Let's just get that out in the open. I've shown you even CVS is closing stores. It's not just retail locations in that, stuff that you can buy online. I get that. But we're looking at other businesses as well. You could see, for example, the car manufacturers are suffering. We can see that many factories have been closing down. Look at what's occurred, with, I think it was GM, if I'm not mistaken, but they shut down some of their plants that were in Oshawa in Ontario, I believe. Also, multiple places within the United States. I did videos about that. Let's move on to this. Looking at the opposite side of this, Starbucks Corporation Chairman Howard Schultz, this is back in 2018, sees a blessing in all of the empty storefronts across the U.S. Facing a crush of vacancies and the rise of e-commerce, retail landlords are beginning to cut rents, the executive said in a memo. That stands to benefit the world's largest coffee chain, more than 14,000 locations. This is important because if you think about this, you've got all these empty stores. That gives them an opportunity, right? Because they're going to come in, lower rents, they're going to be able to make more profit. That means the stocks go higher. That means they could probably hire more people. This is good, right? Well, not so. I will show you something in just a moment. Over the last few weeks, I have been in a number of U.S. cities and observed firsthand the abundance of empty storefronts across the country in prime A1 locations. And this goes on to basically talk about the details of that company itself. But think about this. We're talking about the best locations in these cities, and they are empty. Okay? If you want to see the future of storefront retailing, walk 9 blocks along Broadway from 57th to 48th Street and count the stores. The total number comes to precisely 1, a shop to buy drones. That's right, on a 9-block stretch of what's arguably the most famous avenue, Steps goes on, lies shopping wasteland. Okay, so they're basically just showing you, yes, there's a couple things along the way, but ultimately there are a lot of signs out there saying we've got retail space for you to rent. Then you go with de Blasio saying eyes vacancy tax for greedy landlords seeking top dollar. So they're not necessarily letting other people move in unless you're going to pay the big bucks. So that's the change that I see differently than what Howard Schultz is seeing here. He's thinking this is going to be a great opportunity to get in at a cheaper price, but the landlords, they're not selling it at a cheaper price. How many empty locations do you have in your city? Why wouldn't the landlords reduce the price? Because they know that the other tenants, they're going to be wondering what the hell is going on. They're going to be getting there. They'll move out. They'll end their lease early, or they'll try to make a deal. There'll be all different kinds of messes that they have to deal with, and they don't want to. So they're letting them sit empty. This is obviously having an impact. These businesses here that could be opening are not able to compete with the others. We've got issues here that's going on in commercial real estate. There's no doubt about that. And to finish off the video, wanted to touch on this. Robots edge closer to unloading trucks in Amazon era milestones. So one of the biggest problems with the logistics here is the fact that each package is different. Different weight, different size, different materials. There's a very big complex issue here that a robot can't necessarily just pick it up, put it on the truck, and it would be the same every time. Each and every box is different in some way. Well, they are starting to now figure out how to do this. This is going to be a big change in what we're seeing, particularly with the whole autonomous driving and everything that's going to be happening. Imagine a factory, a warehouse like you have with Amazon, where the entire system, all the way where it gets to your door, has basically, if not completely eliminated humans or maybe just minimal interaction with it, this is where they're going. I don't think they're there yet at all, but they're moving in that direction. Think about how far we've moved just in the last 10 years in this regard. Okay, so think about that. I just wanted to show you that things are really, really changing. There's going to be no stores left. People are going to be buying everything online. I'm not too sure about that, at least for the next few years. Perhaps the next generation, they're much more comfortable with technology. They're more comfortable with apps and Uber and not taxis and not going to the stores. Things are really changing, and you could argue one way or another, but to me, I'm just looking at the data, looking at the stats. What we have today is not going to survive. The way that things are working is just really, really bad for the future. The economy cannot handle what's happening here. If there are all robots that are going to replace all the jobs, who exactly is going to be buying all the stuff? I really don't know how that's going to work out. I know what they're suggesting, and I don't even want to go there. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a like on these videos, you are supporting me, supporting the channel. I do appreciate that very much. If you want the financial education you weren't taught in school, these two books have everything that you need, from the foundation, the history, the asset classes. Everything's in here. Check it out, the link in the description. If you want the audiobook, that's available at themoneygps.com. If you want to find out about the 6,000 stores that are closing, I really outline everything you need to know in this video. So if you click on it, I will see you there.